Some stories ignite with a whisper. Mine started with a storm roaring inside my chest. I stood outside the principal's office in downtown Seattle, my palms slick, heart hammering, tears threatening to spill over, while two perfectly suited parents stared at me like I was nothing more than a stain on their polished world. They didn't bother hiding the smugness. To them, I wasn't a mother fighting for her child. I was an inconvenience, a single woman who should have known better. A cardigan slightly wrinkled, shoes scuffed from the morning rush, and they had no idea that with one call, I could summon someone whose presence alone could turn their arrogance to dust. If anyone has ever been told they're not enough, that their struggle defines them, that their single motherhood is a flaw, this story is your shield. Because what comes next isn't just pain, it's reclaiming power. Hit that like button in your heart because this story proves what real family looks like when the world tries to break you. I'm Luna, 39 years old, and I spent decades building walls so high that love couldn't reach me and pain couldn't penetrate. I thought those walls were strength, now I know they were fear masquerading as armor. My first lesson came from my father, Leonard, a man who taught me how quickly love could disappear. I was 14 when I found my mother, Eleanor, collapsed at the kitchen table, hands shaking over proof of his betrayal. Leonard hadn't just cheated, he had erased us from his life, chasing someone younger, brighter. He left a trail of unpaid bills and a daughter whose first taste of life's cruelty came too early. A man's love has an expiration date. My mother worked herself raw, juggling 3 jobs, surviving on instant meals and thrift store clothes. I learned early that rescue doesn't come. Survival is a skill you acquire when silence is all you have left. At 17, Mom remarried. His name was Douglas, a calm, composed man who owned half the real estate downtown. His wealth intimidated me. His kindness unsettled me. I refused to call him Dad, refused his money, refused his steady love. When he offered to pay for college, I chose debt instead, determined no man would ever feel entitled to a piece of me. On my 18th birthday, I packed my few belongings and left, my pride intact, my heart guarded. Years passed. I waited tables, poured coffee, worked double shifts, fought through student loans, and met Ethan, 26, an aspiring illustrator chasing dreams with messy hair and endless optimism. I was 24, exhausted yet drawn to him. He made me laugh over spilled coffee, reminded me to breathe. 6 months later, we moved in together. 2 years after that, I was pregnant. For the first time, I allowed myself to hope miracles might exist for someone like me. Ethan seemed thrilled initially. Baby books in hand, apartments with space for cradles, dreams sketched in our small apartment on Capitol Hill. But hope is often a liar. As my belly grew, so did his distance. Nights out stretched longer, texts became rare, excuses piled like dirty laundry. By the 7th month, I discovered the messages. Flirty, insidious, cold. When confronted, he didn't apologize. He said I'd changed, that pregnancy had dulled my spark, that he needed space. He left with a suitcase half-packed and ego fully intact. 6 weeks later, Aurora arrived. Ethan didn't show, never called, never offered a dime. It was as if we had been deleted from his life entirely. Lesson 2. Some men leave. It's not if, but when. I buried that truth deep for years until Aurora, 10, bright, curious, artistic, started returning home with cheeks streaked by tears. At first, it was whispers, sly giggles, typical school cruelty, but soon it became malicious. Victoria Hayes, a classmate whose parents believed their money gave them moral superiority, escalated torment into artful cruelty. Weeks of cutting remarks about fatherlessness, insults sharp as knives, and then she destroyed Aurora's sculpture, a butterfly Aurora had crafted for weeks, smirking, "Fatherless girls don't deserve to succeed." Something inside my daughter snapped. She pushed Victoria hard. Victoria fell, knee-scraped, ran crying home. The next morning, the principal's office rang. Principal Reynolds' clipped voice, "Ms. Luna, we need to speak immediately regarding your daughter." I arrived, the air thick, heavy, suffocating. Principal Reynolds, Uneasy behind his desk, sat beside Victoria's parents, Julian and Claire Hayes, dressed like courtroom royalty, exuding superiority. Julian crossed his legs, the air of a corporate lawyer, Claire's perfume a weapon. "Ms. Luna, thank you for coming. We have a serious matter," began Reynolds. Calmly, I laid out weeks of harassment, texts from Aurora pleading for relief, the evidence of Victoria's cruelty. Claire's voice sliced through mine, sharp and cold. "Enough! Your daughter attacked mine. That's violence." I blinked. "She defended herself after months," Claire continued, eyes glittering. "Fatherless children act out. It's sad. Ms. Luna, some women aren't built for single parenting." Reynolds looked. Uncomfortable shuffled papers. Julian slid a document across the desk. "Sign this and avoid police involvement," he said smoothly. The document demanded I confess parental failure, accept blame, agree to remedial classes. "Your words," my voice whispered. Claire tilted her head with faux sympathy. "Acknowledge your inadequacy. Let's face facts. Every child needs a man." Biology. Humiliation crushed me. They weren't punishing Aurora. They were punishing me for daring to survive alone. I left the office shaking, parked, and stared blankly at the city skyline. At home, Aurora waited, tear-streaked, fragile. "Mommy, why doesn't my daddy protect me?" I had no answer. That night, I realized the walls I had built had trapped us both. We needed help, a protector who truly understood family. My hands trembled as I dialed a number I hadn't called in over 20 years. Douglas, my stepfather, answered, calm, steady, composed. "Luna," he said, "waiting, always waiting." I poured out everything. Subscribe. Every week we bring stories where justice isn't just served, it's delivered. Remember, real family shows up when the world tries to break you.